Well, good morning again. It's like a reunion. Everybody wants to just see everybody and chat and catch up. Wait a minute, I don't recognize anybody. Where's your face masks? Where are they? Fantastic. It's great to see everybody here. My name is Kevin Cameron, one of your three Marion County Commissioners. And I want to make sure that, first off, if there's any empty seats, if anybody does not have a seat that's sitting in the back, if there's any empty seats at your table, just raise your hand and wave your hand. So there's empty seats. So if anybody does not have a seat, just wander around the room and we can fill in those seats so everybody has a seat. The registration is overflowing, and I want to thank everybody who is here right up front to support this important program that we're doing today. I want to first off thank our sponsors. At your table there is a list of your sponsors. There's the program, and on the back is all the sponsors. But in particular, I want to say special thanks to our presenting sponsors of the Kaiser Civic Center, who is the City Council has donated this room for us, which is fantastic. Comcast, thank you very much for your presenting sponsorship, and Mountain West. I think they have a table here. Where's Mountain West? Right there. Thank you very much. And it's great to have all the rest of you sponsoring as well. I want to recognize there's so many elected officials here. I just want you to stand if you're an elected official. City councilor, planning commission, county commissioner, just stand up and be recognized. A little bit about the history of the Marion County Reentry Initiative. I remember sitting in the basement of the Capitol when I was a state representative representing House District 19 in 2006. Commissioner Carlson at that time, Dick Withnell, we were in the basement of the Capitol saying, what are we going to do about our recidivism rate in Marion County? And Commissioner Carlson took the lead and formed the Marion County Reentry Initiative back in 2006. And here we are today at our 12th annual, and I want to qualify this in person, right? Because we've missed the last 2 years, so it's great to be here in person and celebrate some of the good work that we're doing here in Marion County. Marion County leads our state in our programs. And we're not going to show you a bunch of graphs, but we could show you the recidivism rate and how people that are reentering out of prison are not going back to prison at a rate that is half of what it was when we started this program many years ago. Today's program is to take a little bigger look. You're going to see a series of almost prevention and redemption, and it's amazing how all of us in this room have probably been given a second chance in one way or another in our life. And today you're going to see some of those programs that have given people second chances that we run in Marion County. Your participation is important. Not only your financial gifts that you'll give today, because that helps our clients get things that we can't give them with your tax dollars, but we can with your personal dollars. But your participation in representation and representing the compassion and the accountability and the things that we need to help people turn their lives around and become productive citizens is really important. I don't know anywhere in the state that 400 people can gather and talk about giving people second chances like we do in Marion County. So let's get started, and our first program is going to be about our juvenile program, and you're going to see a video, and after that video, our juvenile director, Troy Craig, will come up and say a few words. Welcome, and let's get started.
As a child, we moved around a lot. I just was on the right track until I wasn't. Me and my parents were having tension. I was a teenager trying to push my limits. I took my parents' car without permission, and they reported it stolen. It was grand theft auto. It was a heavy charge. I was issued a probation officer. I was a teenager. I was a kid. I was a kid that in my mind did not have freedom. It's really hard and stressful, even now thinking about it, is if I do anything now, it doesn't matter. If you're caught in the system, you're caught. It's a fly trap. And that's amped up by the other kids saying the same thing, or bad adult influence saying, they're still in it. My biological dad, he wasn't there, and when he wasn't the best influence. But my biological dad, I had a bad idea about the police. He was taken away from me very early. He has multiple domestic violence charges. It's really stressful, and it's really hard. And part of why I wanted to do this interview was to have other kids who are going through it, or even people who are funding these programs, know that you can be successful. You can have a life after it. I've had a lot of people that helped me within the program. The juvenile staff, are certain faces and people that really helped me when I was in the correctional institute, and if I were to see them on the side of the road, it would be hard not to just hug them or something, because they really did so much. Linda Martinez is my probation officer, and I thank her a million times directly. She was very, very helpful, and she continues to be. When I got my first job, I called her. When I got my first good job, I called her. When I was getting married, guess who I called? And she remembers me. Whatever you get yourself into, if you use the tools that are provided to you, you can start to dig out, but it's up to you to actually use the tool correctly. I want to say to whoever's supporting the programs I'm in, thank you. Hire more people. Some of the best things that happened with me is because someone had a minute of spare time to give me the attention that I wanted. The attention that I needed in order to thrive. And if you donate to something like this, especially speaking for myself in the juvenile section, you're helping children. Thank you so much for picking up that slack, and I hope you continue to, and focus more on it, because the more we know about the kids, the more they're going to know about their future.
Good morning. I'm Troy Gregg. I'm your Marion County Juvenile Director. And when I began working in juvenile justice 30 years ago, I did with one thing in mind. I loved working with kids. Throughout my career, many things have changed in how we approach working with juveniles, but one thing has always remained the same, is that the people that work in this field do so because they want kids to be successful. They want kids to succeed. That's the purpose of not only the juvenile department, but also of MCRI, to help people succeed. If you would have asked Linda Martinez, Desiree's probation officer, if she thought she would have a profound impact on her life when she was working with her, she would have said that you're crazy, because Desiree was a tough kid. Desiree was going through a lot of different things, and she needed a lot of help and support. But what Linda focused on was what was going on in the moment with Desiree. Focused on what she needed in the moment, the skills, the help, the resources that she needed. She cared about what was going on with Desiree in the moment. And over the years, as it came back, you heard Desiree say, "Who did I call? Who did I reach out to?" And it was Linda Martinez and the impact that she made on her life in those moments. So the juvenile department isn't tied directly to the MCRI Reentry initiative. I like to consider us that we're more pre-entry, right? So we're the prevention piece of things as we go through. And so whether that's working through the different programs that we have, whether it's the GAP program, which is our guaranteed attendance program that works with kids in shelters to help get them the skills so that they can successfully go back home, whether that's through even detention, which keeps kids safe in the moment because something's going on in the community that they can't be safe there, to get them stabilized and get a safety plan in place so they can get back out in the community, whether that's a PO having an individual conversation or a family conversation to help kids find the places that they need to succeed, or our alternative programs, which is arguably, it is the most robust work programs, support programs that we have in the state. We do welding, we do milling, they do carpentry. We have the Fresh Start Market, where kids get to learn how to be a barista, customer service skills. We have a brand new culinary program that we're just starting up as well. We give kids opportunities for success. We believe in them and give them the tools that they need to succeed. So, let me turn my page. Let me tell you this. Typically, I'm a pretty funny speaker across the board, and so I have to write down when I'm serious across this stuff. So, if you see me blending, that's where it is. So, but I believe that every young person needs the opportunity to be successful. I believe that they need to be heard and believe that they can accomplish anything. I think that every one of us, if we were honest, could look back at our lives as juveniles and find that one person or that one moment that made a difference that didn't put us deeper into the system or into the system as a whole, because we all make dumb mistakes, especially when we're young. Desiree struggled to find that person an opportunity. She shared with her with us that her father was a poor influence on her, and she was heading down a path that would have mirrored his own. Fortunately, Linda was there to bridge the gap and be the support that she needed. She was a person that made a difference for her. The juvenile department as a whole strives to be that person, that contact, that opportunity that makes the impact to help steer our youth on a different path. Unfortunately, a lot of the adults in the system didn't have that help early on when they needed it. That's why the Reentry program is so important and makes a difference in the lives of those that are involved. Because not only does changing the path of an adult going through Reentry make an impact, but we change how they impact their children and their grandchildren and stop that cycle of criminality. So opportunities and connections make all the difference in our lives, whether we're just a kid or whether we're adult. That's what the Reentry program creates. That's why Reentry makes a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. I can tell you I work very closely with Troy, and he was funny. Enough. I am Paige Clarkson, and it is a privilege to serve as your Marion County District Attorney. And it was an even greater privilege 4 years ago to partner with our county commissioners, and by partner I mean I was forced into this. If you know Janet Carlson, you know what I'm talking about. To create one of the most impressive programs that we have in Marion County, and that is the LEAD program. And I can see Josh Lair nodding at me in the audience, and you have no idea the source of pride that causes me as I'm standing here today. It's a real full circle moment. I'm not going to lie about that. But you may be wondering, what the heck does LEAD stand for? Well, we're here for a breakfast. So it could stand for, let's all eat another donut. I'm a prosecutor, so you might be thinking, look, lady, everyone avoids DAs. Or it's clearly a fundraiser. You know why you're here. So you might think it stands for leaders eagerly asking for donations. But LEAD actually stands for the Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion Program. And every single one of those words in that title is very important. Because LEAD stands for partnerships between our local law enforcement, many of whom are sharing tables with you here today. They are our protectors, they are our police officers, and they are from all of our many agencies in Marion County, Salem PD, the Sheriff's Office, and all of the other agencies that work so hard to keep us safe. And they are specially trained to work with navigators. In fact, you're going to meet one of those navigators in just a minute, Hank Crapster. I know Hank's name because it used to cross my desk. Now I know Hank's name because he comes to my house for dinner. But these groups of people, amazing people, respond together to the scene of low-level criminal offenses in our community. And these navigators work with police officers to connect these folks on the street who are struggling, who have committed a crime, and instead of taking them to jail or bringing them through my office and my system, they connect them right there, under the bridge, on the street, where they are, with the services that they need. So LEAD stands for using law enforcement, not as a barrier, but as a bridge to healthier lives. LEAD stands for 119 current enrolled clients with a 60% decrease in average police contact and a 62% decrease in average arrests and a 55% reduction in substance abuse. LEAD stands for currently 33 enrolled clients with stable housing. 22 of those current clients have gainful employment, and eight of those clients, have regained custody of their children. Right. So LEAD stands for breaking cycles. LEAD stands for changing lives. And as you're about to hear on a video from Jackie, and she eloquently puts it better than I can, LEAD stands for saving lives. So let's listen to Jackie's story because she says it better than I can.
My name is Jackie, and I'm a born and raised Oregonian. My parents divorced when I was very young, and our home life was pretty dysfunctional. There was some abuse that was going on in the home, and I was removed and spent a year in foster care. Got pregnant when I was 17, and I ended up finishing high school. I walked for graduation when I was 10 days overdue, so that was a pretty big accomplishment just in itself. Leading into my addiction, I had 3 life-altering, life-changing things occur. I had a baby, my mom died, and then I had a major surgery, and it just kind of started to deteriorate from there. I slipped into alcoholism. From there, I just traded one addiction for another. I got into a relationship with somebody who was very abusive, and I didn't know when I met him or when I started dating him that he was involved with heroin. And when I couldn't get him to stop, I just finally joined him because I was tired of fighting. That was a really brutal experience. And I had several attempts to quit on my own that were unsuccessful. And one night, my face was out to here, and I had the massive swollen abscess tooth, and I woke up in my car because I was homeless and I was living in my car at this point. I was just like, I'm gonna die if I don't do something different. I will never forget the day that I walked into Marion County Health and Human Services. I was just broken. I was so unwell and just so fed up with how my life was going. I didn't know anything about the LEAD program. I was approached by the mentor. I didn't necessarily meet all the qualifications or requirements for the program, but it was kind of seen as inevitable if my circumstances didn't change. I was going to get in further trouble. So I was accepted into the LEAD program, and at the time I didn't fully understand even what that meant or what they were capable of doing for me. They've been this pillar of support, like, the whole way. And I can't say enough good things about them. Like, they're not just changing lives, they're saving lives. They absolutely saved my life. Like, the interventions that they used when I first came in, when I was so broken and vulnerable, like, it stuck with me, and they've never let me down. My life is unlike anything I would have ever imagined possible for myself. I have my own place. I'm a full-time college student. I'm actually about to graduate. I'm actually a certified alcohol and drug counselor registrant, and I will be taking my certification exam by September 23rd of 23. To anybody that was looking at, supporting this program, I would just like to say thank you to them as well, for their hand in helping to change my life. Thank you for the opportunity that they've afforded me through this program. It's been monumental in my success and my recovery, and I know my family would thank them as well.
Good morning. My name is Hank Krapser. I'm a navigator here in the LEAD program. I'm also a person in long-term recovery from drug addiction. This year, January of this year, I celebrated 9 years clean and sober. Thank you. Prior to getting clean, I spent the majority of my life in jails and prisons. And today, I get to use all that to reach out to help others with the same struggles that I had. There's a quote that's important to me that I learned in early recovery, and it says, if we are fortunate enough to make it out of hell, it's our responsibility to send the elevator back down. And today, I get to do that. Today, I'm a certified alcohol and drug counselor, I'm a recovery mentor, and I'm what's called a navigator in this program. So today, I get to give back to the community that I used to take from. A huge part of this program, a very important part of this program, a beautiful part of this program is the collaboration with law enforcement. When I took my first steps in recovery, as big of a problem as the drugs were for me was also my criminality and my criminal thinking. If that change didn't happen, if that cognitive change didn't happen where I stopped looking at law enforcement as the enemy, and if I didn't lose that us versus them mentality, no real long-term change would have been permanent. Any abstinence from drugs or criminality would have been short-lived. This is also the case in the folks that come to us in LEAD. They view law enforcement as the enemy, and that us versus them mentality, in order to have any real long-term results in this program, needs to be addressed. And so what I do, and I'm seeing several of our law enforcement partners out there, and you guys know that when I get that call at 1 in the morning and I come out there and I meet with you guys and I open the back door to that cruiser and I see that person that's a lead candidate in the back seat wearing handcuffs, I plant the seeds right there for that change. I let them know that law enforcement officer could have just taken them to jail, but instead they cared about getting them the help that they needed, right? And so they called me out there to give them the help that they needed, and that seed is planted, and the beginnings of that change start to take place. And every 2 weeks we have what's called a LEAD work group meeting, right? And we all sit around a table, and all of our community partners, this whole collaboration, we have members of the Marion County Sheriff's Office and Salem PD and Kaiser PD and a representative from Paige's office, a deputy district attorney that's assigned to our team, our program, right? And a supervisor from Health and Human Services. I'm looking at a couple of them right now, and everybody's sitting around that table, and as I go through this list of people that are on my caseload that are struggling, they all say the same things. They all say, Hank, how can we help this person, right? And when I tell my clients that those are the things that law enforcement are saying, that change starts to take place, right? And over time, when we celebrate recovery milestones with them, and they're 30 or 60 or 90-day clean or 6 months or a year, and those cards get passed around the work group meeting, and law enforcement is writing stuff on there like, I'm so proud of you, right? and you're doing such a good job, keep up the good work, and we're pulling for you. And that change starts to happen, right? That switch in thinking, that us versus them mentality starts to go away. And I've been, I wish you guys could see the look on one of our participants' face when they got a knock on their door from law enforcement, and they weren't there to serve them with papers. They weren't there to take them to jail. They were there to take them Christmas shopping for their kids, right? And all of a sudden, things are different. And that us versus them mentality becomes a us mentality, right? I've been in this program for 3 years, and I've got to see some amazing stuff, right? I've got clients that have multiple years in recovery, that haven't had police contact in years, and that have jobs and cars and houses, and those family relationships are repaired, and they have, like Paige said, they have their kids back. And that's an amazing thing to see, right? I'm going to share something with you because this public speaking thing isn't really my jam. And I'm a person that deals with anxiety, right? And that didn't just go away when the drugs went away. It's something that I continue to battle all the time, and I always think I'm going to get up here and like screw something up, right? And this program is super important to me. And so yesterday, one of my clients I've been working with for 2 years that has that same stuff, you know, that anxiety and that self-doubt and stuff that he had since we were kids, and we grew up in an environment where we got that, right? He asked me, what's wrong, right? He said, are you okay? And I was explaining to him that I have anxiety about being up here, right? And he started telling me all those things that I taught him over the last couple years, right? And he started telling me everything's going to be fine, Hank, and it's okay to struggle and all those things, man. And that part of this program, the peer relationships and the mentoring that takes place in this program is a beautiful thing. Paige shared some statistics with you, and that saved me some time up here because my fear was that I was going to go over. But another one that I'd like to share with you is when we first meet our folks, right, we do an assessment, and then every 6 months after that, we do another assessment. Here's some of the numbers, or here's one of the numbers, since she shared the other ones, between those first two assessments. 86% of people in this program, when we first make contact with them, report feeling down, depressed, or hopeless. After 6 months in this program, those numbers drop to 7%. This program is doing amazing things for this community, and when one of our people are in this community are healed, our whole community is stronger. I want to, so as a person in recovery, as a recovery advocate and a voice for our people in this community, I just want to say thank you to Marion County for believing in this program. And thank you to Paige for believing in this program and helping bring this program to Marion County. Thank you to the commissioners for all your support and your belief in this program. And most of all, thank you to law enforcement. Marion County Sheriff's Office, Salem PD, Kaiser PD, Silverton, Staten, and Woodburn. I think I got them all. Thank you guys, because without your belief in this program and without you wanting better for those people out there and taking the time to call me to get these folks the help that they really need, this program wouldn't be possible. I got one more quote for you, right? I think it was Dr. King's wife. She says, the greatness of a community can be most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. And that's what's going on here. Thank you for allowing me to speak about our amazing program, and this went a lot better than I thought it would.
So I really shouldn't say anything else. I should just ask for your money right now, because that was phenomenal. Thank you, Hank, and thanks for all the work that you do here. I'm Commissioner Colin Willis. I'm one of your Marion County commissioners, and I get to talk about sort of the bedrock of our public safety reentry programs here, which is the Reentry and Probation program. And I think, to give you some context, Hank and Josh and our lead program, the folks that really started that and started that culture that you just heard about, they got into that work because of Jeff Wood and our parole and probation officers who really advocated for them, even when maybe they didn't necessarily think that it was the kind of work they wanted to be in or that it was possible for them. Our folks at parole and probation really believed in them, and Lieutenant Jefferson's there, and over and over and over and over again fought for them. And so it's really a privilege for me to get to talk about this program. And I was thinking as I was sitting down there, one of the things, I see a lot of you at many of these things, many of these community events, right? And we joke, we see each other more than we see our spouses sometimes. But I think one of the things that makes this community different is that we feel a responsibility for our community, and we feel a responsibility to each other. And I think it really transforms this community and why people come here. They say, there's something different about this. And I was thinking about it, because I was thinking about Dick, I think you're here, Dick with Nell, and those guys who led the charge and gals who led the charge for the No Meth in My Backyard campaign here a couple years ago, right? One of the things I thought was so impressive about that is not that they led the charge and they shut down the meth houses. It's that what they realized was afterwards, as a result of that, they put some people in prison, and then there was kids that had to be taken care of. And so instead of saying, well, that's not our problem, they made this pivot and really focused on foster care, and they focused on CASA. And they said, we have a responsibility to these kids that were separated from their parents, maybe in part because of our No Meth, Not in Our Backyard campaign, right? That's not normal. Like in a lot of communities, you say, we're gonna shut down meth, let's go get them. And that's it. And they do it and they're like, wow, we're so great. And those kids are somebody else's problem. But here in Marion County, those people said, those kids are ours. Those are our kids. We have responsibility for those people. And yeah, we can't have meth houses in our community. That's not good for our community. But it's not enough for us to just say that. We have a responsibility for those kids. And so I'm grateful for you letting me talk about that and sort of share that perspective before I jump into this, because that understanding of us, as Hank said, there's no us versus them, there's just us, is I've discovered is the philosophy in our parole and probation team and in our reentry team. And you've heard about the programs we have for our youth that are phenomenal. You've heard about this LEAD program, which really has been transformative. But I also want to just recognize the people who work day in and day out in reentry and probation here in Marion County, and their clients who are doing the hard work of getting back on their feet. And you're going to hear in a moment from Eli and his story and what it took for him to be successful. And what you're going to hear is that not only are our reentry and probation officers the ones that are sometimes holding folks accountable, but more often than not, they're the biggest cheerleaders and supporters of the people that they supervise. And this attitude from law enforcement really changes lives. And what you'll find is that many of our employees in Marion County were former clients of parole and probation, and they'll tell you how wonderful the parole and probation officers are that were supervising them and what a big impact they had in their lives and where they are today. And when you go talk to parole and probation officers, they'll tell you how amazing our new employees are and how lucky we are to have them. And I think that's amazing. It's incredible, and it's not common around the country. So thank you for supporting this work, and now let's hear from Eli.
My name is Eli Kinsley. I identify as an Indigenous male. My journey, I guess, so to speak, with Marion County started approximately when I was about 14 years old. So I was sent up here as a part of Interstate Compact. I was really involved with a lot of gang activity at that time, my substance use, my drinking, my just very uncontrollable behavior. I had various interactions with law enforcement in jail multiple times up until I was about 25, and then I was finally sent to prison for the first time. That translated out to me being on parole and probation, or actually parole until 2008, and I actually successfully completed supervision in 2008, but I still had the thinking and the mindset that I could still do what I want, except now it was the first time I was off of actual supervision. And so it was kind of a free-for-all for me, which ultimately led me back to prison in 2010. And I was incarcerated from 2010 to 2015 and then released back into the community. It was the first time that I was provided the opportunity at higher education, which was a huge revelation for me. It was also the first time I was offered the opportunity at treatment. I had just a lot of unresolved grief and loss and trauma that I had never really been provided the opportunity to address, although I don't think I was ready to. So all of my interactions with community corrections have been punitive, not really looking at what's the underlying cause of what's driving this behavior, but as to he needs to be punished for the behavior. And so that created a lot of distrust. But fast forward to as an adult, when I was released in 2015, I did learn that there were programs. Some of them were still kind of in their infancy. I knew there was a transitional program. I was still skeptical, but I had done so much work previously. I was at the stage where I was ready to take in all I could, and I was willing to go in with an open mind. When I would go in and have conversations with Kayla Thompson at that time, they weren't just conversations of, did you use, who you hanging out with, da-da-da, but they were like, hey, Eli, tell me, how are you doing? How are you engaging with everything that's going on? I'm getting feedback from your counselors that, you seem to be doing really well. Talk to me, let me know what's going on. I felt like she was actually genuinely cared and offered compassion and empathy for what I was going through, and wasn't just out there to look for a reason to lock me up, which had been my previous experience. I would have never even thought to trust a person in her position or authority to even ask for that. And so it really became a really strong mutual relationship of trust, which was relatively, like I said, new to me. And that was huge. I'm on a journey of growth, for sure. I applied at Portland State, enrolled in their Bachelor's of Social Work program, graduated in 2020, and then I applied for the Master's of Social Work program, Advanced Standing program, to complete the program within a year. Jeff Wood was very supportive, and I had reached out to him for a letter of support in pursuing my goals, and he immediately, with no hesitation, which was so validating, once again, of people, my community, somebody that would literally be waiting for me when I got home to arrest me and take me to jail, because he was my PO at one time. For him to do that for me was just a really amazing experience. So I ended up getting a CADC 1 certified alcohol and drug counselor in 2018, worked as a substance use counselor full-time, maintained a full caseload, and then I graduated with an MSW last year. I was granted a clinical social work associate licensure, so I'm working to full licensure. Takes about 2 years to get, and I work as a co-occurring therapist. To the individuals that donate to this program, I don't consider it so much a donation as I do an investment. Because that investment that you're funding, that helped to facilitate the success of me completing school, becoming a clinician, becoming a counselor, becoming an advocate, becoming a good father, becoming a good son. I no longer commit crime. I no longer influence other people to commit crime. I no longer sell drugs. I am no longer violent towards other people. That is an investment in that exponential return. And now I share that with other people.
Well, good morning, everyone. Before I get into my speech, I have to say one thing. Hank, I don't know if I'm buying the public speaking isn't my jam thing. I am not, but that said, I will say, I know Eli is here. Wow, an amazing video. I probably should start with good morning. My name is Jeff Wood. I'm the Undersheriff for the Marion County Sheriff's Office. And as many of you are aware, Marion County has often been cited as the collaboration capital of Oregon. I cannot think of a more appropriate example of that than within our criminal justice system. Whether we're talking about our juvenile department, justice diversion programs like LEAD, or our supervision and reentry programs, none would be where they are today without this incredible collaborative model that includes our district attorney, our judges, our courts, local law enforcement, educational institutions like Chemeketa Community College, our local nonprofits, our county departments, and of course, our community and our Board of Commissioners. All of these groups come together to form that framework, that collaborative framework. Paige Clarkson brought up Janet Carlson. I too was drafted 12 years ago into this program and never regretted a moment since. These programs, as you're well aware, promote change. They remove barriers. I think we also need to highlight that they enhance our community safety. Whether you're returning from a Department of Corrections prison, a local institution, the Marion County Reentry Initiative has an array of acronym-named programs that I won't burden you with, that are designed to facilitate change, to promote positive growth. Whether you're single, a single parent, whether you have co-occurring disorder, whether you're struggling with drug and alcohol addiction, whether you need parenting classes, whether you're homeless, or whether you simply need an ID or a Social Security card, we have an array of services that are designed to remove those barriers so each individual can be successful. I have to say, having spent the last 12, 14 years within this program, I'm proud of these services and the services that we've built. But I do have to say, it's just as important to point out the importance of hiring and retaining top-notch individuals to promote that process from day one. I think Eli said it incredibly well when he brought up a very simple conversation he had with his deputy, his supervising deputy, his PO. She simply asked, "How are you doing?" That "how are you doing," backed by genuine concern, as Eli said, helped build trust, support, compassion, and hope. And if you think about that, doesn't it make sense? I don't know about you, but haven't we all had a problem area of our life? For those of you who know me, I have a shameless addiction to Starbucks. I go there 10 times a day. I'm trying to change, but I'm very pre-contemplative. But that said, I will say, for those of us who have facilitated some positive change, and I am still a work in progress, think about it. When did it work? If you had that ability to promote that change for yourself without any support, good for you. But that said, most of us need that person, that one person, that friend, that coach, that teacher, that neighbor. Could be a police officer, could be a mentor who stood by you, who supported you, who held you accountable, yet was with you from every step on day one to facilitate that change. I think this collaborative synergy describes the Marion County Reentry Initiative. It describes why this community is so special, and it is proven to enhance both public safety, change lives, and it really is one of a kind, and I'm very proud to have been part of it for the last 12, 14 years. So thank you. So now I believe it is my distinct honor to introduce our keynote speaker. The Honorable Paul J. Demiunis was elected to the Oregon Supreme Court in 2000 and served as Chief Justice and Administrative Head of the Oregon Judicial Branch from January 2006 to May of 2012. He retired from the court in December of 2012. I have to admit, when I reviewed the Chief's biography, I will not be able to do it justice. But suffice it to say, it is a very distinguished career where he has received accolades at a local, state, national, and international level. More central to this breakfast this morning, I will just say Paul Demiunis has been one of our top proponents, supporters of reentry since its inception in 2006. He was instrumental in forming the partnership that ultimately led to the Demiunis Resource Center, our one-stop reentry center located on the Sheriff's Office Almsville campus. And he also created and registered the Demiunis Legal Clinic, a nonprofit dedicated to reducing recidivism by combating the collateral consequences of arrests and convictions. Chief, it's my honor to introduce you, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Just as my mother would have done it when she introduced me. I just want to start by first just saying thank you to Desiree, to Jackie, to Hank, to Eli. Incredible. Where's the juvenile director? Yeah. You know, I actually, when you started, I thought I was in church and that I was being asked to confess. But it caused me to think about something else. You are absolutely correct, as many of the speakers have said here, that all of us can look back on our lives and know that there were events or people who had an impact and who changed our lives. This story sort of goes with that. I had the privilege of serving from 1997 through 2000 on what was called the Defense Advisory Committee on Women in the Services. I was appointed by William Cohen when he was Secretary of Defense, and I traveled all over the world on the Secretary of the Navy's plane. And one of the guys I served with was a retired three-star general in the Air Force. He got to know me, and he knew something about my background, and he just said, "How did a juvenile delinquent become a Supreme Court justice?" Actually, what he was more disturbed about was that I had been an enlisted guy in the Air Force. But you made me think this morning a little bit about my life, and there was an event that goes along with this. My first day as a lawyer, my boss took me out to the Oregon State Penitentiary because I was a public defender and we represented people who had been convicted of crimes and could not afford a lawyer for their appeal. He took me to the penitentiary, wanted me to see where our clients were, where we would meet them, that sort of thing. And as obviously some of you here know what the penitentiary looks like. I do. There's a place where the tiers come together at OSP, and as we were walking through that, by one of the tiers, a disembodied voice came out of that tier and said, "Paul, is that you?" That was one of the guys I ran with as a kid. And it just had a profound effect on me thinking about how did he end up here and I ended up here. And I think all of us need to reflect on that as something that's important to us. So I want to thank the planners of this group for giving me the opportunity to offer a few comments. When I retired, I said I'm done speaking to people. But for this, okay, and I actually have a suit that still fits. So I believe in the spiritual world, and Commissioner Cameron mentioned Commissioner Carlson. I can feel the presence of the late Senator Jackie Winters here today. I think her belief in the power of second chances cast a giant shadow over this community, and it was her leadership both locally and statewide that helped us to coalesce into where we are today. So I want to say Thanks, Jackie, you made a difference. So here are some facts that all of us, I think, should think about. 95% of the individuals who enter an Oregon prison will eventually be released and will return to the Oregon community from which they entered prison. For us in Marion County, that means that every year 400 to 500 individuals will re-enter our community after spending years in prison. Of those re-entering our community, a large percentage will be immediately homeless. They'll have no means of transportation, no driver's license, no identification, no real job prospects, and more likely than not, a mountain of fees and fines that they are burdened with when they leave prison. I think we all must be thankful that more than 16 years ago, our county commissioners, our local law enforcement leaders came together with the belief, and it is a belief, that we could combat in this community, and actually throughout the state, we could combat that culture of recidivism, and created the Marion County Reentry Initiative. We have been a leader in this state in doing that, and it is, in my humble opinion, one of the most important public safety programs that we have in this community and in this state. So the Marion County Reentry Initiative provides all the other things we've heard about, but housing counseling, employment counseling, meeting people's basic needs. And I think it was maybe Hank who mentioned this whole idea of understanding cognitive behavior, understanding why it is you made the decisions that you made, and helps you so you don't make those decisions again. As part of the Reentry Initiative in 2011, we started a resource center, and I've just got the statistics from that resource center. You can know why we need these services. In 2021, the resource center assisted 900 clients with housing, employment, education, and that important cognitive skill building that Hank mentioned. In 2022, at least in the first quarter, the data from the Resource Center shows that they're on track to serve 1,400 clients. So the need is there. In addition, and Jeff Wood mentioned this, what separates our community from others who are committed to reentry is a legal clinic dedicated to assisting all of those who are reentering Marion County from prison. Those legal services that are provided by the legal clinic include child-parent visitation, custody, innovative and creative ways to help people meet their obligation for fines and fees, all sorts of legal services. It exists solely on private donations, but we believe that it is an integral part into helping reduce our recidivism rate in this county. But one of the other things that I think is really important in what the legal clinic tries to do is, and I'll have to read this because I wrote it, but I can't remember all the words. But it was important to me when I wrote this. Regardless of the viability of a client's legal matter, the legal clinic is dedicated to giving clients individual attention, to dignifying their challenges and their presence, and to further reduce their financial pressures by providing copies of legal records and necessary court forms. Now, I want to go a little bit farther than just our local commitment, and I want to talk about Oregon Corrections Enterprises. Full disclosure, I serve on their advisory board, and I'm a huge fan and supporter of Oregon. And for there's a brochure on the table so you can find out about it. But for anybody who doesn't know, this is a partnership with the Oregon Corrections Department, and it is providing at least I think currently 1,400 adults in corrections with job opportunities that are remarkable. And I would say it this way. If you need somebody who's a cabinet level or a craftsman level cabinet maker, an upholsterer, a forklift operator, a clerk, or a warehouse worker, the Oregon Corrections Enterprise can help you find that person. Do you need somebody who will be overjoyed to come to work on time every day and with an overwhelming will to succeed? People who have participated in the Oregon Corrections Enterprises will be there for you. It's an important aspect of public safety, and here's why. Of those adults who participate in the Oregon Corrections Enterprise, the recidivism rate is only 9%. That compares to 26.9 or something like that for all those other individuals who leave our Oregon Corrections Enterprise. Let me end with these comments. The Marion Community Resource Reentry Initiative has resulted in a significant return on our community's investment. And that's one of the key words here, a significant return on our community's investment. And we're asking you to make that investment today. We increase public safety, but more importantly also we have saved millions of dollars in recidivism costs. We know that for every $1 invested in evidence-based reentry services, our community saves $14 in recidivism cost 3 years down the road. Although the financial ROI is important, I would argue there's another likely more important ROI, and that's the return in human capital. That's the strengthening of our social fabric of our community, and that's what the Marion County Community Reentry Initiative does. My support of this program is based on my own personal belief, and I think it's a belief that many of you share with me. It's a personal belief in redemption, in the redemption of human lives, and it's a belief that a person's time on this earth should not be defined by the worst mistakes they've made. So I encourage all of you to support our initiative. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Hi, good morning. I'm Danielle Bethel. I'm the tail of the commission. I wag the dog a little because I have the most energy, they say. This is my first opportunity to be in person with this many people as a county commissioner, and I have to say, all of you are fantastic looking. I love that I don't know most of you, because when I saw you last, probably in different places, you had masks on. So forgive me if I look at your eyes and think, that's familiar. You'll have to tell me who you are exactly. So I get to say to you, we're here for a reason. You all know why you're here. Commissioner Cameron opened a little bit with a hint, and at some point someone's going to hand you an envelope, and I really want all of you to fill that out. But I'm just going to briefly remind you why you're filling out that envelope or scanning the QR code on the screen to make a donation. It's specifically, and very specifically, to support these programs that we've heard about today that see the people in our community for the humans that they are. It's a really big deal to all of the people that spoke today to sit either in a room and share their story or to be amongst you and just be human. We all make mistakes, every single one of us. I'm honored to be standing up here because I've made many, many before. Thankfully, I just didn't get caught. But I have to say
that to the audience of people in here that actually do these services, truly thank you. Nobody really knows what you do every single day to change the lives of those around you. I had zero idea before I became a commissioner. I've had the privilege to become friends with Hank Crapser and others in this program, his program. The Hope Dealers, if you see their hoodies around, stop and introduce yourselves. And if you want to get your steps in, get their cards and go for a walk and make a difference. Taxpayers can't fund every single thing in the world. They don't want to. They don't even understand why. So we need programs like this to make sure that we can keep these things going. It's critically important. And if today didn't capture your heart, give me a call, and I will take you on a personal tour of the difference that we make in Marion County. Because the Marion County way is the only way to do life. Because we kick the tails of every single county in the state of Oregon, specifically because we have a really good team. It's made up of Hank, it's made up of our DA, it's made up of our undersheriff, and thanks for shouting out the commissioners, but really all we do is look at the budget and determine how much money we can shove at these things so our communities can be the healthiest possible. And I'm truly privileged to be a part of that. And I just want to say before I run off this stage to Troy, I know in your budget there's money for paint. For the GAP program, which is one of my most favorite programs in the county to serve kiddos, and they want a nice place to be. So if you like to roll paint on buildings, I'm gonna call you to work and we're gonna get that done. Because this is what these programs fund, is making a difference in people's lives. So again, please fill out your donation cards, scan the QR code, and continue to help us make a difference in Marion County. And Tamara sent me a quick text that says, there are brochures on the back wall right over there for the local programs that we talked about today. So please take them and distribute them throughout the community so others have the opportunity to learn what you learned today. And in closing, please give. Thank you.
So while you're filling those out, I just want to have every person who is a public safety officer or involved in public safety, please stand and be recognized today. Hank, that's you too. And since we missed 2 years of these breakfasts, this is kind of a makeup breakfast, right? We will see you back here on October 27th to get back on our fall schedule. And I want to thank you as you fill out your cards, and I want to thank you for being here today and for your investment, as Hank and Chief Demiunis said, in these programs. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on October 27th.